Obviously, this is a spoiler review, and if you're here, then you know already.
Spoilers, guys. What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another installment of SNL Movie Chats. And we are your hosts, Joshua Lewis
And John Emery Singleton.
And today, I am more than thrilled to be saying we are going to be talking about the first Marvel movie to hit theaters this year. Whew. You know her, we love her, Black Widow, guys. Black Widow.
Finally, we waited a long time for this.
So long. A lot of delays, with COVID, a lot of things going on, but now it finally came out. We're here, and you got to see it before me, so
yeah, this is something that we before you went today to go see it, we didn't really even get to talk about it. So this is our first time talking about it too, which is kind of exciting.
Just for you guys.
I liked it. I think it's a great reintroduction to kind of like getting back to the movies with the MCU. It's nice to get more context to Natasha's like story and kind of what she's been through, to kind of get a better view of the quote-unquote red in her ledger that she's spoken about in previous films. I think this movie has a good way of touching on that. It's not perfect. There are things about the movie that definitely let me down, that I wasn't a fan of. Just as, for instance, Taskmaster as a whole, it was really underwhelming, personally, for me.
I agree.
I think they dropped the ball to an aspect, which really sucks, because when you come to that first scene where Taskmaster is introduced, they really show what I wanted to see. Like, they show the Taskmaster aspect. Before she goes to fight Natasha, she's watching videos of them fighting. Boom, you already get that idea of, oh, she can like watch it and then do it. And then when they're fighting, you see the POV of her like mimicking her. And that was fantastic. And it was like, from that moment, it just declined. Like, that was the best Taskmaster moment, was in the first fight that she had with Natasha, which wasn't really that long, which is kind of sad.
Yeah. First introduction to Taskmaster for me was a little lukewarm as well. For me, the first introduction to Taskmaster, the thing that took me out of it for a second, I thought she was a robot at first. And I really didn't like that. Just of how, like, they came in and connected.
Thing too, right?
Connected to the back of her head, and I was kind of like, oh man, this is a robot. I already don't like it. Just because, I'm so used to Taskmaster being an actual person, and I was prepared to see that. I'm glad that got rectified before the end of the film. So I'm glad there was an actual person in there. So thank God for that. I did like all of Taskmaster's scenes, action-wise. All their action scenes with Taskmaster was really well done. The fight with Natasha was great. That was real cool. Mm-hmm. The way he kicked her off that bridge was like, whew, damn.
Yeah, that's the first time in a long time I've watched a fight with her where I was just like, yeah, you're probably not going to win this.
Yeah, nah, she wasn't. So that was cool. And then going quick to the fight on the car chase scene. When, bro, he comes in with that big tanker.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
That was kind of like, whoa, he's coming for you. I like that.
Since we're tackling Taskmaster specifically right now, I just feel like the marketing campaign for the movie really over-pushed the character, almost as like they were going to be more prominent and, more things were going to happen. But for the most part, obviously this is a spoiler review, and if you're here, then you know already.
Spoilers, guys.
For the most part, everything that happened in the trailer was, well, pretty much everything we got to see with Taskmaster, which was kind of, well, shitty.
Yeah, it was underwhelming. Like you said,
yeah, I think one of the big things I was really, really looking forward to in this fight that they show us a bit in the trailer is the Red Guardian versus Taskmaster. And it's a fight we didn't even get to see. And I was so disappointed by that it was a fight we basically saw none of. And I was just like, oh, come on. This was the one moment I thought we were really going to get okay, this is Taskmaster. Okay, this is Red Guardian. And we just didn't get it.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. And I was talking to a friend of mine that I went to go watch the movie with. And I was saying the exact same thing. That fight, I was so prepared to see Red Guardian and Taskmaster go at it. And not only did we barely see the fight, Red Guardian was getting his ass whooped. He didn't do anything. He really got his ass whooped, bro. And I was really let down by that. I was like, bro, you're the Russian Captain America, for lack of a better term. Like, and the movie was doing a decent job of like, just building up that fight for me anyway.
Yeah, it did.
And then especially with the trailers and the marketing and everything. So I was really excited to see that fight. Alexis as a character and the actor playing him, he was in Stranger Things, David Harbour.
Yeah.
David Harbour. I love him in Stranger Things. He's such a good actor. And I liked him in this movie too. The Alexis character was great.
I loved
comedic, very Russian. I love that they didn't. That's another thing too. I feel like this movie was a little darker. And I kind of like that.
I felt this more like gritty undertone of the film, and like we're in the seriousness of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they approached that was really great. Speaking about David Harbour, he blew me away. Like you said, in Stranger Things, I've loved him in that and other things he's appeared in. Things like Equalizer and the new movie on HBO Max. I can't think of the name right now. But he's a fantastic actor, and he blew me away. I loved his character so much more than I thought I would. Not that I expected to hate him or anything. But it was so good. He was nice comedic relief, but he was also... I understood his character, and it was really nice the way that he fit into that overall family mold that they built between the four of them. Speaking of the family, you have Florence Pugh as Elena. Phenomenal.
Great actress. Great
As always, if you haven't seen her in Midsommar, quite a crazy film, but she does a fantastic job carrying it. And of course, you had Rachel Weisz as Melina, the mom. They did so good in that aspect of being like family but not family.
Mm-hmm.
And just to kind of channel that as a whole, one of my favorite scenes kind of sitting with the film for a day is when they first all get back together and they're sitting at the table and they're kind of just all expressing what the Ohio mission meant to them in the beginning of the film. And I love how every person at the table has almost like a different aspect of what it meant. Oh, it was just a mission. It wasn't even real. Oh, we did a great job. And then there's Yelena, who's like, that was everything to me. That's the best part of my entire life. Those are the most important moments to me. And everyone here is just acting like it just didn't matter to them. So yeah, they sold me as David Harbour as Guardian. They sold me as this family aspect, this ragtag individuals, spy, Russian stuff. It was great. I loved that aspect of the film for sure.
I agree. And stemming from that, Yelena did a very good job on selling me as being Natasha's sister. Because at first, I'm not going to lie, going into the movie, I was a little hesitant, like, oh, Natasha has a quote-unquote sister we never knew about, you know what I mean? So going into that, I was a little skeptical. But that went away almost as soon as the movie started when she came on screen. The first interaction between her and Natasha was... At first I was like, damn, y'all have to fight each other? Like, don't you know by now? But I get it. Like, you don't know if one's mind controlled or the other one's, still affiliated with the Red Room. Like, they don't know. They haven't seen each other in so long. So I get the sense of urgency when they both walk into a room with each other. The fight scenes in this movie was also great. That movie, I loved it. All the hand-to-hand combat, especially with all the female characters, they were phenomenal. I loved it. I could see them all the time. But going back to Yelena, I think she was the heart of this movie. Even though it was about Natasha, but I feel like she was the heart, just being the little sister, seeing all these things. And then, like you said, everyone was thinking, oh, this was a mission, or for Natasha, it wasn't real, this was just fake. These aren't even her real parents. But for Yelena, all of it was real, even if it was fake.
Yeah, that's her mom, that's her dad, that's her sister. And it's like, all these people are just like shutting down on the best, quietest, most normal memories that she has, and everybody's basically just like shitting on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that part almost got me too at the table.
Yeah, I agree. One thing that this movie does do very well is makes you understand, kind of like you said, oh, we're supposed to believe that, oh, she has a sister, quote unquote, blah, blah, blah. This movie makes you understand very quickly why we haven't heard of any of this before. Because when you go into the movie and once Natasha gets the package and then meets back up with Yelena in Budapest, which was really cool to see, we'll get back to that, you get this understanding that Natasha was she was thinking that the Red Room was gone, Alexei was gone, Yelena was just off living her life and didn't want to see her. She doesn't mess with her quote-unquote parents. She doesn't like any of them like that. At least in that moment in the world, in the film, she's not had that realization that they were still like a parent figure to them.
Yeah.
They did a really good job. To me, I totally understood, like, okay, I get why we've never heard of this character and this character. And any of this, I get why we haven't heard of it. Because I guess we have, but just in more broader scopes because they haven't went over it before.
Yeah, and then them originating from Russia, I feel like also is another reason why we didn't know about them, especially during the time they were on like an espionage mission, more or less.
Which was really
You know what
cool.
I mean? Yeah, and at first when the movie started and they were, giving us this setting, I wasn't sure. They do a good job of like, we don't know that obviously until later on in the movie, but at first I was just like, whoa, things are popping off. Like, I wasn't sure like who was good and bad at that moment, and then the fact that they showed the SHIELD logo going after them as they're making their escape, I was like, whoa, like, is SHIELD bad right now? Like, what's going on? But it just turns out, they were just on. Yeah, it was on the side of the truck when they were driving on the airport, or they were on the airplane about to take off.
Oh, that makes sense.
And at first I was like, wait, is SHIELD bad? Like, what's going on? But then going further into the movie, you realize, okay, they're from Russia and they're more or less like spies in America. So of course, once they, blipped on SHIELD's radar, they were going to go after them. So it makes sense. I like how the narrative kind of shifted from, we thought one thing, but then once we get more information, it's like, oh no, it was this whole other thing. And they were really there just for, I forgot the thing they were there for specifically.
She said it was, yeah, it wasn't a weapon. They stole the
thing for the mind control.
Yeah, to be able to control the brain and stuff like that, learning how to rewire it, some shit like that. One thing that I think I might have to nick the movie for, but it's more of like a continuity, I really have to do the math, is I have to know how old Natasha's supposed to be in that opening scene, because Iron Man 2 is only, 15 years from then?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess Black Widow was significantly younger in that movie than I had thought, because she doesn't look very old in this.
Yeah.
She looks like 10? Well, I guess then it's not so bad. I don't know. It definitely took me out of the movie for a second, trying to figure out if that matched up with proper continuity, like if they made her old enough. Because at first, I thought Natasha was the little one. And I was like, oh, this definitely doesn't make sense.
I did too.
But then it came, like you just said, like as they progressed further, and by the time they got to Russia, it clicked. I was like, okay,
yeah,
that's Natasha.
Yes.
Before they said it, I was like, okay, that one's definitely Natasha. So that was refreshing. Another, since we've been talking about some pros, a con that I had with this movie is that the third act, not that it didn't work for me, but it definitely fell short of my expectations. I feel like 80 to 90% of the things that take place in the third act kind of just ended abruptly. And I was pretty disappointed about that. Again, almost like a 2-in-1. The Taskmaster fight at the end of the movie ended really abruptly. It was kind of like they showed the scene of them possibly fighting in the sky in the trailer, and that literally doesn't happen. They connect in the sky, they fall to the floor, literally they do like one move and then she hits her with the gas and then boom, that's done.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to my con about the whole Taskmaster character as a whole. I feel like this film just used Taskmaster as a real MacGuffin to just further other story plots in the movie, and I wish it wasn't that at all. I wish it was just like something separate, like, oh, he was just like a bounty hunter. You know how Taskmaster is, like he's a bounty hunter who's really just in it for the money. He's not really with any specific organization. He's just like
kind of what I was hoping.
Like a man for hire. That's kind of what I preferred. But and this goes into another con I have too, with the reveal of who Taskmaster was, which saved one con I had about me thinking it was a robot, but then it introduced another con of it being Dreykov's daughter.
How did you?
I didn't like that,
bro.
I didn't like that because at first the whole, I don't know about anyone else, but I kind of got a sense of like dread when they showed what Natasha had to do to try and take Dreykov off.
I felt
and
the
I
weight.
Liked that.
It made me feel that when I saw that flashback, I instantly thought when she was talking to Loki in Avengers and she was like, I have read in my ledger. Mm-hmm. When I saw that scene, I was like, oh my God, you really are doing everything you're doing to make up for the negative actions that you caused. And this one, might be the worst one.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
the scenario in which you didn't do it because you were under the spell of the Red Room or whatever. You did it to get away from the Red Room, which is like, so them revealing that she was alive really took the whole weight out of that.
Yeah,
almost.
it did. And I get bringing it to a head for Natasha to confront, for her to go off for the rest of her journey with, Captain America and the rest of the Avengers as the timeline unfolds, how it does. But yeah, that just kind of took that moment out for me. And then with the Taskmaster thing, again, I just wish it wasn't that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, with the whole fight and how the third act ended with Taskmaster versus Black Widow, it wasn't a fight.
It really wasn't.
The best fights were before the third act. The third act was more or less like I said it walking out the theater, the third act was more or less like I already was prepared to walk. Like, they knew what they were walking into, which I liked, but they knew what they were walking into, so nothing was, like, unexpected. I
can agree to that. It's almost like the characters knew what they had to do, and almost feels like, wow, why am I complaining about this? Nothing really went wrong.
Yeah, because Melina kind of, they have the moment where you think Melina turns on them, but
I didn't expect that.
I didn't either. I didn't expect that, so I liked it. And I still liked when it was like a double cross, like, they were working together. I like that too. But then when they kept flashing back to like that 2 minutes they had to have that conversation about, everything, Melina told her everything in that 2 minutes. So Natasha was fully prepared to be in the room with Dreykov, like, with all the information, knowing everything she needed to know. The only thing that caught her off guard was the Taskmaster thing. That's the only thing she didn't expect.
Now, her fighting the Widows, on the other hand, that was really cool, but again, not that it necessarily ended abruptly. Not the fight. I didn't have an issue with the way the fight ended, but I had an issue with the way, like, that all culminated. It was kind of just like, okay, they came back to consciousness. Oh, what do we do now? Oh, go make your own choices. Go live. She's like, or crazy idea, you could, help us with what we're doing right now, because it's kind of a big deal. And then they kind of just slide. And then they just show back up, and they're like, hey, we didn't leave. Oh, we wouldn't forget you. It's like, yeah, but you did. You already left.
It's like, and it's funny because one of my friends brought that up too, and it's like, I don't know, I'm like torn. It's like, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. It's like, okay, if you were under this mind control for who knows how long, they could have been there since they were kids. Who knows how long they've been under this mind control for? I want to give them, the benefit of the doubt of saying, okay, what would they do? Like, I wouldn't fucking know what to do. Like, it's trying to just, reel my head in with what's going on. And for that, leading into when they come back, I feel like that was just them like, okay, we thought about it, let's just come help you. That being said, I still agree with what you're saying, though. It was kind of
I kind of level that with the actions of Yelena when she got broken from it. It's like, she was instantaneous, and all that person who she killed got to say to her was, like, free the others, or don't let them be. Some basic help everyone type line.
Yeah.
And in that moment, she literally did exactly what she should do, which is, she cut the chip out, she got going, she was ready to move. And then these other girls who were in the same training program, they were probably just as long, maybe some of them longer than Yelena, were like, all right, later. And they all left, and they were like, oh wait, let's go get the one girl that was with us the whole time. Like, where did you go? What are you doing? So, I was a little frustrated with that. I was frustrated with, again, the Taskmaster fight in that scene. And I think that just, like, overall, that act was, like, for me. I like that all of the stuff, when General Ross was pulling up, and, we have that little quick snippet shot of her from the trailer, and then it fades to black, and you come back. Once that happened, I was good again. I was glad, like, the movie didn't end there, because I thought for a second it was going to, and I was like, oh, please let there be anything else after this. I really like how, like, little, like, random stuff, they set up the blonde hair dye before she went on her mission. It was cool seeing, like, how this whole movie and her interactions with her family from the past kind of fueled the Natasha we see in Infinity War and in Endgame, where she's like, she really understands that the Avengers are more than just like coworkers and stuff. They're like a family. They are together, So it was really cool to see her mindset going into that kind of range, where they got the jet from.
Oh yeah,
those kind of things were pretty cool. That I like. The jacket, which I didn't notice, I didn't even realize that is the same jacket she wore in Infinity War.
Yeah, and I was thinking the same thing when they first talked about it. I was like, haha, like that was funny, that was cute. But then, like towards the end of it, when she gave it to her, I was like, wait, did you have that in the other movies? Like, damn, do I have to go back and check now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not really something you think about. So I pointed out.
And then I saw it on TikTok, and I was like, well, I'll be damned. It is the same jacket, so I thought that was cool. And then just some other like highlights of the film. A lot of the comedic stuff really landed for me. The scene where they first pick up Alexei is so funny when they're talking about their fallopian tubes. It's like, at first, it's like a serious thing, but as viewers of the MCU, we already know that happens to women with the Red Room. Mm-hmm. So it was really funny, her just like excessively going into detail.
I like, because the one time they do talk about it was in Age of Ultron when she brings it up with Bruce. Mm-hmm. But I do like that Elena's like, oh yeah, no, we can't do this. Like, they go in there and do this, and that. And he's just like, okay,
yeah.
Please stop. Like, bro, no, you're finna hear this because this is what you essentially let happen to them.
Yeah,
so like,
you did
bro,
this
that was Elena. Like, no, don't be an asshole talking to some, why are we on our periods? Like, that was the most dickheaded thing for a man to say to a woman, bro. Like, you're crazy. You're so crazy.
Yeah, so I'm glad they kind of placed them in their, put him in his place for a good portion of the movie. Man was really off his rocker too, asking if Captain America talked about him. And in my head, I'm just like, how would you wouldn't even know each other. Just like the guy said at the prison. And two, just like Natasha said, you haven't seen them in 20 years and that's the first thing you're going to ask? That's an L. That's an L dad move right there, for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely funny though. It was so funny. And Yelena's comedic moments, she was roasting Black Widow this movie, bro. I loved it. She was
for me. And like, if I'm taking one thing away is that I am completely comfortable and ready to see Yelena again in the MCU because I like her. I like Florence Pugh. I like Yelena as a character. It works for me. If we don't get Scarlett Johansson back as Black Widow, which I don't think we will. I kind of hope we don't, just because I think her send-off was appropriate.
Yeah. Especially
now since we got the film. I really am okay with her taking the role of like the Black Widow character, the female ass kicker. Mm-hmm. I can kick it with the heroes because I'm just that good. I like that, and I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, this movie was definitely sad though with the whole Black Widow being dead thing.
Yeah,
because like you do forget about that while watching the movie. I'll say that I do. Mm-hmm. That is taken out of my head when I'm watching it. But by the end of it, things are wrapping up. And, I'm gonna go save my friend from prison. It's just like, dang, bro, it's tough. It's like, God, so tough.
Kind of that in that same like manner where there are moments that wrap you back to the bigger universe. That's something that I also think they did really well in the beginning, is making it very clear just how close to the end of Civil War this takes place. Mm-hmm. Like, really close. It's almost like this happens before Steve breaks out them from prison. That's how close this takes place. So I thought they did a really good job with that. And then how, they talk about the overall universe every now and again. Her being an Avenger and that kind of stuff.
They loved calling her out on that.
Oh,
I didn't mind that though.
No,
I
agree.
Hey, she's an Avenger, bro, so you better keep calling her that. I like that.
And then finally, you wait all the way to the end and you get that one post-credit scene where obviously this movie originally was supposed to come out before Captain America, or Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So when Madame Hydra made her appearance, we started hearing online that she was originally supposed to make her appearance in this film, which she does. She does show up in the post-credit scene, which is you flashback, you're back in the present time. It looks as though this takes place after all of Endgame and stuff. And this nice, like, sweet moment, Yelena is visiting Natasha's grave. It's almost like a nice little bow send-off that we didn't get. Like one of the complaints coming out of Endgame that we got. It felt really nice. And then, of course, you get, this obsessed, over-the-top, crazy character.
Yeah, like, I still don't know how to feel about her. Like, I really don't have any, I don't know.
Yeah, I do. I think it's consistent.
No, yeah. Like, she's playing her role. I'll say that. She's playing her role well. I just don't I just don't have a vibe on her yet.
And they do a good job of setting up, and we also know that she will be returning in the Hawkeye series. So they definitely show us now how she'll be returning in the Hawkeye series.
Yeah.
I thought that was very interesting. I was not expecting that. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I was curious to see who they were going to show. And
Agreed.
once they showed that, I was just like, they're not ready for the smoke, man.
Yeah,
I don't know about that. But that is going to be a nice meeting when Yelena essentially meets Hawkeye for the first time. That's going to be cool. But I want to, before I go any further, I want to say on Yelena's part, I hope, I like her enough and I trust her enough that when she goes into that mission, that she kind of
has that hesitation, like that's probably not true factor.
Yeah, like I feel like you've already been stuck in the red room and people's already been playing mind tricks on you. So don't fall back into another mind trick. Like you know Natasha just as well as the Avengers at this point, and Hawkeye was her best friend.
Yeah, they do talk. She talks about their relationship several times.
Yeah,
while they're in Budapest, and that doesn't exactly seem like a relationship that would make you think that he's the reason she's dead.
Yeah.
So like you said, hopefully she goes into it with at least a form of hesitation or like one of those fight and talk aspects where when they fight, they're not full blown like blow for blow, and they're kind of conversating like, oh, where were you when she died, that kind of stuff. Because I think it would be kind of far fetched to believe that she would just be like seeing red when she saw him.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Yeah, that wouldn't fit for me personally anyway. But overall, now that we're kind of reached from point A to point B, Black Widow just came out fresh in theaters and on Disney Plus Premier Access. Are you taking it or are you leaving it?
As a Marvel fan and an advocate moviegoer, I think I'm gonna definitely take it. It's a solid movie. It's 2 hours and 13 minutes long, so it's not that long. I think that also helped with the movie, if you ask me. But I liked it. I love seeing Black Widow kick ass. I love Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. I think that was still one of the best castings for that character. I love Yelena. Alexis, maybe we'll get to see more of him in the future. I don't know, but I like him, Melina. All of them did a great job. Dreykov, you're a bitch. Stop preying on innocent girls. That's crazy, bro. Like, it's 2020. Come on now.
Weird.
Yeah. One thing, real quick, before I go any further. The Red Room being in the sky, that was cool.
That was
I like that. That was
big brain thinking.
Yeah, I like that.
I agree. I'm with you. I'm definitely taking this movie. Obviously, I have extreme bias to the MCU. That being said, I said it in the thing. It wasn't a perfect film, but overall, it's definitely a big take for me. It was so good getting back to the theater for an MCU film. It's been 2 years since we've seen one in theaters. It was refreshing. It was a nice send-off for the character, if that's what this was. And it made me excited for some of the new characters and their position going forward. Like you said, there's a chance we see Red Guardian again. We also are definitely seeing Yelena again, which I'm really excited for. And yeah, this is a big take for me. I think I'm definitely, if you haven't run out to see it yet, I would definitely go see it as soon as possible. And if you can't make it to the theater, whether it be because they're closed down temporarily around you or just for your own safety, I totally get it. This is definitely something you want to take and maybe watch on Disney Plus Premier Access. I know the $30 asking price is kind of steep, but get a couple friends over, pool in that $30 and definitely watch it. Throw some popcorn in your face because it is well worth it.
Good movie, guys. Good movie.
And with that, we'll end the chat there. Thanks for watching. And if you like being a part of the chat, hit the like button, smash that subscribe button, and make sure you keep that notification bell ringing for next week's video. Until then, you can follow the channel at the description links below, and you can follow me at JohnEmery97 on Twitter and JohnEmery_Singleton on Instagram.
And you can follow me at Joshua5K on Instagram and Twitter.
And until then, make sure you support your local movie theater and or streaming service of choice. And until next time, thanks for chatting,
guys.